It was a quiet Saturday afternoon in the neighborhood. The sun was shining, and the sound of children laughing filled the air. My kids, along with a few of their friends, were playing outside, riding their bikes, tossing a ball, and just being kids. It was the kind of wholesome scene any normal person would appreciate. But not Karen. Karen had always been the self-appointed enforcer of the HOA rules, despite not actually being on the board. If there was ever a minor inconvenience in her day, she made sure everyone suffered for it. I'd had my fair share of run-ins with her over the years. Passive-aggressive notes about my lawn, complaints about my trash bins being out too early, and even a ridiculous argument over the color of my mailbox. But this time, she was taking things to a new level. She came storming out of her house, arms crossed, her face twisted in an expression of pure annoyance. "Excuse me," she barked, marching straight toward the kids. "This is unacceptable. The noise is ridiculous. You're disturbing the peace." I stepped forward before she could go any further. "Karen, they're just playing. It's the middle of the afternoon, not midnight." "That's not the point," she snapped. "This is a residential neighborhood, not a playground. Some of us enjoy peace and quiet." I let out a slow breath, keeping my voice calm. "They're not breaking any rules. There's no HOA regulation against kids playing outside." Karen's nostrils flared. "Well, there should be. This is a nuisance. If you won't do something about it, I will." With that, she spun on her heel and stomped back to her house. I could hear her muttering under her breath about calling the authorities. I didn't think much of it. Surely, even she wouldn't be that ridiculous. I was wrong. 15 minutes later, I heard the sound of a car pulling up, followed by the unmistakable sight of 2 police officers stepping out. I felt my stomach tighten. Was she seriously wasting police resources over this? The officers approached, professional but clearly unimpressed. "We got a complaint about a noise disturbance," one of them said, glancing around. Karen appeared on cue, arms crossed, an all too satisfied smirk on her face. "Yes. Thank goodness you're here. This has been going on all afternoon. They won't listen to reason." The officers looked around. My kids had stopped playing, watching the scene unfold in confusion. A few neighbors had stepped outside, curious. One of the officers gave me a questioning look. "They're just playing," I said simply. "Middle of the day, not even being loud." Karen seems to think kids having fun is a crime. The second officer raised an eyebrow at Karen. "Ma'am, did you call 911 over this?" Karen straightened, her expression defiant. "It's a public disturbance. I have every right." The officer held up a hand, already looking exasperated. "Ma'am, this is not an emergency." I could see the moment Karen realized she had made a mistake. But it was too late. Karen's anger didn't end with the fine. If anything, it made her even more determined to cause problems. She spent the next few days ranting in the neighborhood Facebook group, claiming she was being harassed and unfairly targeted for simply wanting peace. She conveniently left out the part where she called the cops on kids for playing. At first, most people ignored her, but then something interesting happened. Other neighbors started sharing their own stories. It turned out that Karen had a long history of trying to control everyone around her. Someone posted about how she once reported a neighbor's car for being parked too close to the curb, even though it was well within legal limits. Another person mentioned how she tried to get their dog banned from the HOA for barking twice in one afternoon. The stories kept coming, and soon, it was clear that Karen wasn't just an annoying neighbor, she was a full-blown menace. People started pushing back. A few homeowners looked into the HOA rules and realized Karen had been bluffing half the time. She had no real authority, just a loud voice and a bad attitude. Some of the board members, clearly fed up, began revisiting complaints she had filed over the years. Several of them were completely baseless, and a pattern of harassment started to emerge. Then came the real turning point. A few neighbors formally submitted requests to amend the HOA guidelines, specifically to prevent repeated frivolous complaints. If someone misused the HOA to harass their neighbors, they could be fined or even lose certain privileges. It wasn't an immediate process, but the discussion gained traction fast. Karen, realizing that her influence was slipping, started doubling down. She tried to argue at the next HOA meeting, ranting about maintaining standards and holding people accountable. But this time, no one was listening. One by one, people shut her down. Karen, this isn't about standards. It's about you harassing people. You've been making our lives miserable for years. You waste everyone's time, and now you're mad that there are consequences. She was outnumbered, and she knew it. Still, she tried to act like she had the upper hand.
Fine.
If you all want to live in chaos, don't come crying to me when this place turns into a dump. No one responded. The meeting continued without her, discussing real community concerns instead of her petty complaints. Karen left early, her usual smugness nowhere to be seen. The best part? After years of her bullying people into submission, the neighborhood had finally turned against her. People stopped entertaining her nonsense. No one took her complaints seriously anymore. She had spent so long trying to control everyone else, but now no one cared what she had to say. And for the first time in years, the neighborhood actually felt peaceful, not because Karen got what she wanted, but because she finally lost the power to ruin it for everyone else.